For thousands of years, this land has been the stage of wars, broken promises, and renewed hopes. But today, something extraordinary happened. A new proposal was presented, bold, unexpected, and for many, impossible. But it carries within it a deep plea for peace. World leaders stopped to listen. Religious figures, politicians, and even skeptics, all focused on a single voice. Could this be the solution the world has been waiting for millennia? Stay until the end of this video to understand what was said, who is behind it, and how it could change the future of the Holy Land, and perhaps all humanity. A call for peace. The message the world stopped to hear. We are living in days that will forever mark the history of humanity. Wars, rumors of war, divisions, pain, uncertainty. But amid this chaos, something happened. A message arose, a call, a warning, and the world stopped to listen. Why now? Why did this message touch so many lives? Because it goes straight to the heart. Because it's not just a speech, it's a cry from the soul. It's an invitation from God. In this video, you will understand the spiritual and prophetic significance of this moment. You will see why this call is not just political or social, but deeply spiritual. You will see why the fate of humanity is at stake, and why you were called for this time. What is at stake? Peace in the East and the West, the faith of nations, the hope of families, the truth that sets free, and the eternal future of millions of souls. This is not an ordinary video. It is a plea to heaven. It is a summons to all who still believe in the power of prayer, forgiveness, reconciliation, and hope. This is not about politics. It's about the salvation of the human soul. Share your faith. If this message touches your heart, write in the comments. Message continues to encourage sharing hope and light. A prophetic moment. This video is part of something much greater. It reflects ancient prophecies, forgotten words, and visions now being fulfilled before our eyes. We are living the beginning of sorrows, but also the beginning of a new era for those who believe. Watch until the end. Pray with us. Reflect and share. You were called for this hour. Do not ignore this call for peace. The oldest conflict on earth. The origin of the Israel-Palestine conflict. Watch until the end and declare your faith in the comments. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is not just a modern geopolitical issue. It is the unfolding of an ancient history, intertwined with divine promises, territorial disputes, and prophecies spanning centuries. In this video, we dive into the biblical and historical roots of this conflict that still divides opinions, nations, and hearts today. From the promises made to Abraham, where God assured land to his descendants, to modern times when the region remains a battleground of wars, tensions, and prayers, the Holy Land carries a spiritual weight that transcends borders. Did you know? Jerusalem, considered sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, is the most contested city in human history. And despite so many wars, it remains the center of prophetic hopes for millions. In this revealing episode, you will understand how God's promises to Abraham shaped the dispute over the Promised Land, why Jerusalem is the beating heart of faith and conflict, the timeline of confrontations, from antiquity to today, the role of the three great monotheistic religions in this complex scenario, and what all this reveals about the end times and the spiritual role of each nation involved. This is not just a political conflict. It is a spiritual battle. Write in the comments, I believe in God's promises. The peace of Jerusalem is in the Lord's hands. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Israel is God's prophetic clock. Your declaration of faith can touch other hearts. A surprising new solution is being discussed, and the whole world is shocked. For centuries, world leaders, thinkers, and religious figures have tried every way to find a solution to unite what seemed impossible: faith, politics, and humanity. But now, a new proposal has risen from the ashes of the conflict, and the one who proposed it was not an ordinary politician. It was an unexpected voice, a simple man, a modern prophet according to some, a madman according to others. But what no one can deny is this: his words echoed in palaces, churches, and deserts, key points of the proposal that shocked the world. Jerusalem as a shared spiritual city, free from exclusive control, a symbol of unity among Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Global leadership based on spiritual principles, not merely military or economic power. A 40-day weapons silence pact, not as a military truce, but as a symbolic act of collective repentance. A call for nations to recognize that, without God, there is no true peace. The proposal includes a global day of repentance, where all peoples of all beliefs bow before the Creator asking for forgiveness, not for religion but for humanity. Why is this proposal different from all previous ones? Because it does not come from political strategies, nor bureaucratic treaties. It arises from a deep spiritual cry. It does not try to erase differences between religions. It honors them while calling everyone to a common ground: humility before the eternal. Is it possible to unite faith, politics, and humanity? It's a question that challenges logic. But maybe this is the key. Logic has failed. Wars continue. Political speeches repeat themselves. Agreements are broken. Perhaps now is the time to hear something different, something that comes from within, from the heart, from heaven. If you believe God can still do something new on earth, comment below. I believe in the impossible. Let peace come from above. With God, all things are possible. Lord, use me as an instrument of reconciliation. Share this video with someone who needs to restore faith in humanity. Let's fill the comments with voices of faith, hope, and courage. Because those who have faith are never alone. Since the dawn of humanity, conflict has been a constant. From the first tribes disputing territories and resources to the great nations, today battling for power, influence, and survival, human history is marked by tensions that seem endless. But why does this conflict between peoples, cultures, and nations seem so eternal? Why, despite advances in technology, globalization, and instant communication, do we still witness wars, religious disputes, and ideological clashes worldwide? Over centuries, many scholars, spiritual leaders, and philosophers have sought answers to this question. Some believe these conflicts reflect natural differences among human groups, their beliefs and values. Others see them as a spiritual battle, an invisible struggle beyond the physical realm rooted deep in human nature. But is this reality unchangeable? Is conflict destined to be humanity's only path? Or is there hope, a light at the end of this tunnel of divisions and misunderstandings? We want to hear you. Leave a word of faith, hope, or courage in the comments for those who, like you, seek peace amid chaos. What is your belief about the true origin of these conflicts? Do you believe humanity can one day overcome these divisions? Share your statement of faith, a prayer, or a thought that inspires transformation. Let's create together a chain of positivity and unity. Because the truth is, no matter how old this battle is, faith can be the most powerful weapon to transform hearts and build a future of peace. Your voice matters here. Comment below and be part of this conversation that can change everything. Have you ever stopped to think about how you relate to the people around you? The great philosopher Martin Buber invites us to reflect on this in his seminal work, I and Thou. He presents two fundamental ways of relating to the world and others: the I-Thou relationship and the I-It relationship. What is the I-Thou relationship according to Martin Buber? For Buber, the I-Thou encounter is an authentic, deep, and direct connection between two people. In this type of relationship, the other is not an object, not a thing to be used or manipulated. The other is a thou, someone who presents themselves fully, with whom we establish true dialogue, mutual presence, where both recognize each other's existence and dignity. It is an encounter marked by reciprocity, respect, and genuine presence, where there are no masks or falsehoods, just a sincere openness to the other. The difference between authentic encounter, I-thou, and impersonal relationship, I-it, on. The other hand, the I-it relationship is impersonal, instrumental, and objective. In this kind of relationship, the other is treated as an object, a thing to be used, analyzed, controlled, or manipulated to serve our interests. It's the kind of relationship we have with things, tools, and even with people when we see them, only as means to an end. While the I-thou relationship elevates and connects us to the meaning of life, the I-it relationship can distance us from our humanity and create coldness and conflict. How can this philosophy change the way conflicts are resolved? Imagine applying the I-thou philosophy in your personal, family, professional, or even faith community relationships. Instead of seeing the other as an adversary, a problem, or an it to overcome, you start to see them as a thou, a person worthy of respect and understanding. This changes everything. Conflict stops being a battle of interests and becomes an opportunity for encounter, dialogue, and healing. It is in recognizing the humanity of the other that we find the foundations for true reconciliation, empathy, and forgiveness. When we stop judging and start truly listening, we open the way for inner peace and social harmony. It is an invitation to live in communion with faith and love as Jesus taught. And you? How can the I-thou philosophy transform your relationships today? Leave your statement of faith, an experience of true encounter, or how you want to apply this divine wisdom to overcome conflicts in your life here in the comments. Let's together create a chain of hope, respect, and love. Comment now and strengthen your faith with words that uplift. If you enjoyed this deep reflection, please leave a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe for more content that nourishes the soul and transforms lives. Practical examples of applying Buber's philosophy. The transformative power of dialogue. Martin Buber's philosophy, especially his concept of the I-thou dialogue, goes far beyond theory. It has been a powerful tool to transform tense situations into moments of understanding, reconciliation, and lasting peace. Historical cases where dialogue transformed conflicts. One of the most striking examples comes from the post-apartheid reconciliation process in South Africa. Nelson Mandela, even after decades of fighting against the segregationist regime, chose the path of genuine dialogue with his former adversaries. He practiced the I-thou by recognizing the humanity in the other, even in his enemies, paving the way for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where victims and perpetrators could speak, listen, and seek national healing together. This transformative dialogue prevented an endless cycle of revenge and violence. Another emblematic example is the Dalai Lama's work with Chinese and Tibetan leaders. Despite intense political and cultural conflict, he has always advocated respectful and empathetic dialogue to find peaceful solutions, embodying Buber's philosophy in both spiritual and political fields. Peace movements. Incorporating the I-thou dialogue. Today, many peace and social justice movements adopt practices based on deep dialogue. Groups like Seeds of Peace, which bring together Israeli and Palestinian youth, use authentic dialogue to build bridges where it once seemed impossible. They encourage each participant to see the other as a thou, with dignity and worth, not merely as an adversary or enemy. Ecumenical and interfaith organizations also use Buber's philosophy to foster encounters that overcome cultural and dogmatic barriers. Through sincere conversations, religious leaders find common ground, creating environments of mutual respect and cooperation. Why is dialogue essential today? In times of polarization and global conflicts, the I-thou philosophy reminds us that true human encounter happens when we recognize the other in their essence, opening space for empathy and transformation. When we practice this dialogue, we can overcome fear, prejudice, and mistrust. We want to hear from you. Leave a comment with a statement of faith or hope inspired by the power of dialogue. It can be a prayer, a phrase you believe in, or a message of peace that touches your heart. Together, let's strengthen this spirit of true encounter because faith and dialogue have the power to transform our world. Example to comment. I believe in the power of dialogue that unites hearts and reconciles souls. May we always see the thou in others, with love and respect. This space is for you. Share your light and your faith with our community. Contemporary conflicts in the light of Buber's philosophy. Today, more than ever, we live in times marked by deep divisions, conflicts crossing ethnic, religious, and political lines causing pain and suffering worldwide. One of the most emblematic and complex cases is the Israel-Palestine conflict, a story marked by decades of tension, violence, and misunderstanding. But is there a path to peace? A path that leads us beyond hatred and antagonism? Here is where Martin Buber's philosophy comes in, a Jewish thinker who left us a powerful reflection on human relations, dialogue, and true communication. Buber invites us to see the other not as an object, and it to be manipulated or defeated, but as a thou, a being with dignity, capable of reciprocity and deep connection. This I-thou approach sheds necessary light on thinking about contemporary conflicts, including the one between Israel and Palestine. Israel and Palestine, a case study revealing the challenges all conflicts face: territorial disputes, traumatic memories, clashing religious and cultural identities, and political interests that hinder understanding. But through Buber's philosophy, we can imagine dialogue as a bridge, where genuine encounter can open space for empathy, true listening, and building lasting peace. This model goes beyond superficial negotiations. It's about recognizing the other in their full humanity, regardless of religion, ethnicity, or political stance. And that is exactly what is missing in many racial and religious conflicts we see today, where the other is often dehumanized. Racial, religious, and political conflicts in today's world are fueled by fear, prejudice, and the inability to see others with compassionate eyes. It's as if we are all trapped in vicious cycles of distrust and violence. But what if the key to breaking this cycle lies in the human encounter Buber proposes? In dialogue that doesn't aim to defeat the other but to understand, welcome, and respect. That's why this video is not only for reflection but for acting with faith and hope. I want you to leave your comment now, affirming your belief in the power of dialogue, peace, and love that transcends differences. Write a word of faith, a prayer, or a wish for peace for the people suffering from conflicts, whether in Israel, Palestine, or anywhere in the world. Let's build together a virtual space where the light of understanding and love can shine. Potential paths for dialogue and understanding, active listening and mutual respect. Recognizing that every person carries a story and pain. Without truly listening, there is no real dialogue. Empathy and authentic presence, and more than words, it's the act of being present and open to the other. Recognition of otherness, accepting the other as they are, without trying to shape them according to our expectations. Joint construction of peace, without winners or losers, but with the common goal of collective well-being. With Buber's philosophy, the I-thou encounter is the foundation of peace. This peace begins in the heart of each of us, in how we treat others, and in the commitment not to let the other be just an enemy but a brother, a partner in life's journey. Therefore, I invite you to leave your comment, share your word of faith, your longing for peace. Let's transform this comment section into a true space of dialogue and hope. Do you believe dialogue can transform today's conflicts? What word of faith would you like to leave to strengthen this hope? Comment now, and let's spread this message together. The whole world is watching and listening to this new hope. But true change only happens when each of us decides to be part of it, whether through a gesture, a word, or a peaceful thought. If you believe it's possible to build a different future, leave your like, share this video, and most importantly, spread this message. And remember, the conversation continues here in the comments. Your voice matters. Thank you very much for watching until now. See you in the next video.